positivity. No, I'm not a makeup blogger. No, I'm not a makeup blogger. My eyelashes are on crooked and my eyeliner couldn't cut butter. Hey guys, it's Nicole. Welcome to my channel. Yeah, this video is about a little drama that went on a couple days ago, and it kind of drug on to multiple social media platforms, but I thought I'd address it here. And I said a little bit about it on Twitter, but I thought it was worth addressing. And just to start off, it's not meant to attack. This is not meant as a personal attack or drag video, but I do think there was important examples of hurtful things that we say to one another, and that are exhibited through anti-blackness. And there were certain things that were said in this particular exchange that I think are an example of things that I see in real life and I see people struggle with understanding. So, you know, maybe I'm not the best person to say it, but I'm gonna give it a shot. And I thought it was really important to call out a couple points. Like any exchange, I don't care, but I think it's important your approach to your approach, and also how far you go are important, because sometimes you might be standing up for somebody and you end up hurting somebody else. So like sometimes scorching the earth, trying to stand up for somebody else, can end up hurting other people. And that's what I really wanted to point out in this video. So before we do that, I wanted to just get that out of the way. If just because you support this person, I'm being critical, but that doesn't mean I don't support you, or it's a personal attack against you, because it's most certainly not a personal attack against the person that I'm going to talk about. Secondly, it is okay, it is completely doable to be critical and not hurtful. It's important for people to understand, and I hope that this video brings you understanding and makes you a better friend, makes you a better friend to people of color around you, and a better ally all around. So yeah, that's the point. It's not meant to drag anybody, but it's important that we discuss it. Also, don't mind me. I convinced myself that if I'm going to talk about drama, that I'm going to do something positive too. So I'm just going to be trimming my roses in the meantime. But something happened at a makeup event between MakeupShayla, Jeffree Star, and another beauty blogger named Marielle. So what was accused of happening was something MakeupShayla said about somebody needing some type of facial augmentation, and Jeffree Star took offense to that. But some of the things Jeffree Star said got out of hand. And something that I need to explain to you about anti-blackness. Anti-blackness can be exhibited by people of color too. Even I, as a dark-skinned black woman, can exhibit anti-blackness. Say, for example, I insult another woman for being dark-skinned, even though I have dark skin, that's still being anti-black. So even if being dark-skinned and black doesn't exempt you from being anti-black, neither does being gay. Just because you're a marginalized person doesn't mean you can't exhibit harmful behaviors. Just because you're gay doesn't mean you can't be racist. Just because you're black doesn't mean you can't be homophobic. So these are certain things that we need to clear up too. So once again, even a black person can be a part of anti-black behavior. So before we even move on, I wanted to clear that up. So this isn't a drag, but it is important. I think it's important to voice this so that there can be a better relationship between people moving forward. So I want to talk about first Jeffree Star. So Jeffree Star is someone who has been in the game for a while, and he's influenced a lot of people in terms of androgyny, pushing your limits, men wearing makeup, and that's great. And MakeupShayla also has her own influence with her channel, her makeup channel, showing women of color how to do their makeup and beyond. So they both have an influence, and I know Jeffree Star has been someone who has changed lives just by existing. His music is out there. So this isn't meant, I'm not going to sit here and trash people in this video. I was offended by some things that he said in that exchange with MakeupShayla, but I'm not going to sit here and trash the person. I'm not going to lie. I own some of his products, and they're pretty good products. I'm not going to sit here and trash his brand because he said something I didn't agree with, and that was deeply hurtful, not only to me, but other black women of color. But I think it's important that we have this conversation, not to just point out somebody did something wrong for the hell of it, but really to change the dynamics so that we can be better to each other. When we weren't talking about the transgender issue as much as we have in the past, but certain people like Laverne Cox and others brought the transgender movement to the forefront. And we learned that misgendering people is hurtful. So if someone comes up to you and says, you've been using he, him to address me, but you know, that's hurtful to me because I am a transgender woman. I'd feel better if you refer to me in she, her. If you maybe you didn't know that was hurtful, maybe you didn't care, maybe you meet other trans people who that doesn't hurt. But for that person, they've expressed to you how they'd like to be referred to. And if you don't do that, then perhaps that person isn't a friend. But you need to also acknowledge that in not being respectful and listening to them and adapting your behavior, like literally, it's the same amount of syllables, she, him, she, her, he, him. You know, you're consciously saying you're not going to do that, and you're not going to listen to this person, and you're in turn being hurtful towards that person. So that, like, if that individual wants to sever ties with you because you are being toxic to them, that's totally up to them. But this is me saying the way that he went about some things was very hurtful, not only to me, but other women of color. And I hope that this can be used as a way to correct that in the future. I know Jeffree Star hangs around black women. Maybe they tell him, maybe they don't. But I think that it's really important that we cover this issue. If you don't see race, no problem. This video isn't for you. If you think that women of color are oversensitive, then this video isn't for you. So the exchange started on Snapchat, I guess, and it got pretty heated, you know, just your typical insults. But then it got into something that was really not. It was really ugly and really harmful. He quickly descended into really nasty, sexist language to refer to MakeupShayla. So first, he's calling her the C word, calling her a hoe, and I would play some of the audio, but I just can't play it on my channel. Like, I'm not even gonna play it. You can find it, I'll link the video below, but it was really nasty language. But something that I saw a couple people address it, but something they really glossed over, which I think before we even get to some of the racially harmful stuff, a man threatening to beat a woman to the ground is not okay. So some people were saying, oh, you know, like, I know he said that, but I mean, she started it. There's plenty of tweets that you can look up where people are saying, like, oh, the gender binary won't protect MakeupShayla. But from jump, a man threatening to beat down a woman is totally unacceptable. And for all you meninists who are going to get in my comment section saying, well, if you want real equality, why can't men hit women? Well, men have been hitting women for a really long time. I direct you to the CDC domestic violence report. Look at that. You know what would be revolutionary? If you stopped. So I'm not going to sit here, and violence of any type is not to be condoned. But if you're fighting against bullying, why would you threaten someone? So I really think that needs to be highlighted here. He should not be threatening to beat up another woman. So MakeupShayla said something like, oh, there's a man threatening me or whatever. And Jeffree says, oh, MakeupShayla, you can't play the victim when you are 3 times my size and full of plastic. Maybe I'll just bring a blowtorch. So, and then he said, but you look and sound more like a man than I do. So relax. You took this whole thing, this whole fight with MakeupShayla is because she body shames other makeup bloggers. If your whole problem with MakeupShayla is that you feel that she body shames somebody, why would you body shame her in that way? And that's how we get to Anti-Blackness. Serena Williams is someone who has an athletic build similar. I would compare her to MakeupShayla. Not even comparing women, but okay. They have an athletic build. And she is a tennis professional who built her body and worked on her body in a way that would make her successful in her sport. Whenever she, like, especially when she's succeeding or winning opens, she is subjected to some of the ugliest body shaming. They compare her to a man. They say that she shouldn't be competing in tennis because her physique is more like a man, not like the other bodies that are out there playing tennis. And that is based in, and this is something you need to understand, the history of comparing black women's bodies to more masculine than white bodies around them has a very long and dark history. It's not new. It didn't come around in 2015, but it sure does rear its head a lot more than you would think in 2016. So, and then we take this, and let's also note that this whole thing with Jeffree Star comparing MakeupShayla's body to a man, and coming for her, threatening to beat her down to the ground, but then saying, oh, but I'm the victim because you're more masculine than me. That's so, to me, you know, that's something that trans women of color have to deal with as well. Being told they're not femme enough or not passing enough. So I think there's that aspect there as well. But particularly when it concerns black women of color, comparing our bodies and making them masculine and more threatening is a dangerous road to go down, and it's a destructive one. So that's not right, and he shouldn't do that again. And I hope that you guys also see how that's harmful. And in the very same week that this happened, there was that cartoon, remember, comparing Michelle Obama to Melania Trump, and they made someone who's completely femme, and they drew her out to be threatening and masculine compared to the feminine and delicate Melania Trump. This is the same thing that Jeffree Star did. Do I think Jeffree Star is going to go out and burn crosses in black people's yards? No. But I'm telling you, this is why it's harmful. If you don't agree, that's fine. But I'm trying to help you be a better friend to the black women of color around you. And also just coaching in general, when people tell you that something is harmful and has a historical basis in being hurtful to them, being LGBTQ, being Hispanic, being Latino, being black, being anything, just listen to them and do your best to change that. Sorry, it smells so great. These roses smell so sweet. That sends off signals for me, and that the making black women's bodies seem more masculine is rooted in anti-blackness. Whether he knows that or not, it doesn't mean that it's not there, okay? There's nothing wrong with being a black woman who doesn't present as femme. So, but we all know the stereotype of like the masculine black body being threatening to other bodies, being more threatening than others. So trying to give her more threatening characteristics is something that a lot of people are sensitive to. If you're not sensitive to it, that's fine, but what I'm trying to tell you is that other people are. Using AAVE, like, yes, honey, hey, nose, come through, all that stuff, drag her, that, like, spill the tea, that's all stuff that either, like, a lot of black gay men came up with that. And that's another thing, like appreciation versus appropriation. But that's another video. I don't like to make people role models who don't want to be, and Jeffree Star doesn't tell himself to be a role model or anything. But if you're going to take up sides and start this fight against MakeupShayla because you said she body shamed somebody else, perhaps the best approach is not to body shame. So approach and tone is really important. So, and that's something I feel is really wrong with the way that we're approaching these issues, is we all want to yell at each other, and we all want to scream and say something hurtful and lash out when we're hurt. But sometimes when you're hurt, even if you're right, like if she said that, it is right to stand up and say, you know what, that's not right. But when you go for the scorched earth approach, you burn people that you didn't intend to. So when you're saying stuff like, oh, you know what, call me when our bank accounts match. Like, Jeffree, what about your fans who have to do their makeup in their Kia? Like, show them some love. But, you know, like, I'm not going to go that far. But when you go for that approach, you end up sometimes hurting people. And all of that time that was spent going back and forth with Shayla, like she lied, she's doing all this, calling her the C word, calling her a hoe, which is really hurtful and harmful to women who support you, Jeffree. But doing all that, that could have been time. Those are tweets, those are Snapchats that could have been spent building up the person who was hurt. Our approach is everything. I don't think anybody learned anything other than Jeffree Star is really good at dragging people. MakeupShayla can flip her hair. But what did we learn? I've run out of roses to cut and I'm losing light. But I just wanted to, I hope I covered everything. Like, I hope you know that pointing out things that are harmful this is not self-serving. Like, pointing this out is mainly to help. It's less even for Jeffree because, like, he's never gonna see this. But it's less for Jeffree, but more for people who, if you were hurt by it, like, I understand you. I completely understand where it came from. Oh, here's a tip. Put a little vodka in your water for your flowers and they last a little longer. They look great. So vodka, go in water. But yeah, I hope I covered all the bases so you know that it can be really harmful. It smells so good. But it can be, you can hurt people even if you didn't intend to. And when you do that, it kind of helps to just listen and try and change it so that you're not hurtful to those people. And maybe if you don't want to do that, if you're not willing to, then you're like not even, like, maybe you're not as cool of a person as you thought you were. I think the way people want to present themselves is important, and it's not cool to try and use gender-specific stereotypes to harm other people. That's just not right. And I do my best not to do it to other people. I do my best not to misgender people. And I think that's something that a lot of people have become attuned to, not misgendering others in order to be better people to the ones around them that it affects. And I think that's what the point of this video is to really help people understand. Like, Jeffree Star's never gonna see this video, but if you were hurt by it, I wanted you to know that there's somebody else who relates to you. And for those of you who didn't know it was hurtful, perhaps you can change your behavior and be someone who's a better ally. Because not everybody's gonna tell you that it's hurtful, but if you can be attuned to that, you can change your behavior. And maybe if you see somebody else doing it, you can tell them why it's harmful and how they can avoid doing that harmful behavior or doing that harmful thing. When we want to make a change, you can be fired up, but we need to talk to each other that like we're humans. Like, remember, I'm human. I know that Jeffree's human. I know MakeupShayla's human. I know all of them. I know that you're human. So let's go from that point and treat each other as such and try and be better people to one another. And yeah, this is really just meant out of positivity. No, I'm not a makeup blogger. No, I'm not a makeup blogger. My eyelashes are on crooked and my eyeliner couldn't cut butter. But I think the best thing that was said, Mariale, I think. Nunca pierdas la fe. Los mejores comienzos vienen de los peores finales. And I think that's important. You know, sometimes we mess up, but that can be the sounding board. That can be our platform to making something better. And I hope we can do that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.